I wanted to talk about Australia because this is something that is very important. It doesn't, the name digital ID doesn't sound scary like climate change or nuclear war. But in fact, this, if it passes, if it's allowed to be to start, which the date they want to start is in 2026, this is a vis-a-vis Chinese style uh, lack of privacy for the individual citizens. So I want to pull up something on a stage here. I actually want to read to you from this article. This is about the Australia passes the digital ID bill because it says the Australian government has passed the digital ID bill 2024 and digital ID bill 2024 is a different name. It will establish an economy wide digital ID system and allow for financial organizations and providers to apply and join the government digital ID platform. To them, it says the benefits of this system will be a stronger and more secure ecosystem for users online. It will also encourage providers to join the voluntary accreditation scheme. I don't, they call it scheme for some reason. Maybe that's an Australian word, which is really is to comply with the standards of Australian regulators and maintain high levels of security and authentication. Once the legislation receives the royal asset, which is expected in the next few weeks, they will come to action in November 2024. And by 2026, businesses will be able to join the government's digital ID system. Now, I do want to explain a little bit more about this because that doesn't sound so bad, right? That sounds like, okay, well, I mean, it's just a digital ID. But here's a problem with that is you have to think about a complete centralization of all of your information, of all of your health records, of everything you've ever done, where you live, every single thing. And that should scare you because we know that the government is incredibly inept at keeping anything safe.
Mhm.
Citizens, information, right? We can't even keep the banks afloat. The banks, fumbled and we had to print a bunch of money to save them. But here's the thing is because not only is all your information there, if you consolidate all of your data and information to a single ID, it creates a high value target for cyber criminals. And if they breach it, it can expose sensitive information like financial data and healthcare records, but for every single person. The next thing you have to consider is that by linking your personal identification data across federal, state, and private entities, the government gains extensive oversight over your individual activities.
Mm.
And that level of surveillance could be misused, as is in China, as is already now. And the next is data security. Because although the bill includes measures to enhance cybersecurity, Australia's track record on data protection is very, very concerning. They even say that they don't have to disclose any breaches of security that has happened to the system. So if you want all your information to be held by the government so they can know in real time what you're doing, anytime you go to the doctor and they prescribe you something, the government knows. Anytime you go anywhere, anytime you do anything, they know and they can control every single thing. And that's the danger in this bill.
Wow. I mean, that's really frightening. And and you just explained a lot first of all. So, and you've gone in deep into this, and I know you know a lot about this. So, just for me and maybe for our audience, if what what would actually this look like implemented in terms of how would this affect like the average Australian now in in a couple of years, let's say after this is being implemented?
Yeah, so if you like your privacy, it's gone. Completely gone. China has a social credit score system, which essentially is a digital ID, where everything you do is on your phone. It's on an app. If you want to buy gas or charge your car, you have to have a certain level of credit score. If you don't, the pump literally does not turn on and operate. If you want to turn your car on, you have to scan your face. If you have a low social credit score, your car will not turn on. If you want to buy a plane ticket, a train ticket, buy certain foods, you are essentially locked into the location you're at. You can't rent a car, you can't drive a car, you can't buy a plane ticket, nothing. This is an extension of that to allow the government to see everything that you're doing at any time, your health records. So the government knows how sick you are at any point in time. Well, the government has people they work with, right? Corporate partners vis-a-vis BlackRock, vis-a-vis all these other corporations, and all they want to do is make money off you. Their job is not to cure you. If they cure you of any health ailments, then you're no longer a customer and you're no longer a client. So just think about the possibilities of having people who are only obsessed with power joining with people who are only obsessed about money. And now they have all of your data. but it's all centralized. It's completely centralized. They can do whatever they want with it.
Phew. Kev, your thoughts?
Sounds really gay.
Well, it is Australia. I mean, you did see that flag.
It's exactly. Well, no, that's what I wanted to start off with. Is I'm not surprised, and so I sent a link. I don't know if we can get that pulled up, just because it was kind of a quick hit that missed the cut that I wanted to bring up today. But then when I saw we were talking about Australia, so Australia is super gay. I'm not surprised by any of this. An American podcaster has branded Australia lame and weak after going on an emotional anti-woke rant online. So Matt Walsh went on like a massive anti-Australia thing last week. But the funniest part about all of this, go through some of the comments on this post. Go through some of them. Just read some of them, please, for me, Fabian.
So let's see. This one here says, to be honest, Australia doesn't even feel like the country it was 15 years ago. I witnessed the changes live. Matt is 100% correct. This isn't the country I grew up in. Australia is largely lame and weak. This piece of journalism and the number of people who complied with the experimental death jab is evidence of that. Kudos to the battlers who resist the woke cult disease. Someone says, he is 100% accurate. Someone says, we just allowed the digital ID to become law. No one is protesting this. I'd say we are quite lame and weak.
Exactly. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make with all this is, one, I'm not surprised, but look, even Australians don't like it there. Like, even the Australians are in the comments section of their nationally funded media, which is like, hey, man, like, we're not that bad. Like, they're trying to be all like, Matt Walsh is so extreme. We hate him. And even Australians are in the comments section being like, no, he's kind of got a point. We like where we live and stuff, but we hate our government. They all hate it. So while I will attack and hate on this legislation, and I think it's bad and we need to prevent it from coming to America, and I see even other places that have similar things that are scary. Like you have Dubai, I think, is one place where all you got to do is like scan your face and that pays for things. And like that connects to your bank account. There's places that are doing some crazy things with biotech and connecting you and making it all about with data collection. There's a lot of crazy shit going on, but it seems like there are rational people in these countries, if not even the majority of Australians. I don't know if that's representative of the majority. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That recognize it as relatively crazy.
Yeah. I want to like break it down into two though, or separate the two, because I think like advancements like you were talking about in Dubai or something like that is pretty cool because it makes life a little bit more efficient. And that is, I think, what they're trying to disguise things like digital ID under, is that, oh, it's so effective. It makes everything so much more simple, simplify your life. That's what everything is about nowadays, right? But this is actually this is taking away your actual privacy, because we've all seen videos in China where they can regulate everything that is happening around you if everything is digital. So if you live in these 15-minute smart cities where the house is digital, you walk in, it's all based on you scanning it and whatnot, then they can use digital ID and whatnot to actually hamper your life, take away your privacy and whatnot. And then you actually have cool human technological advancements like, your iPhone and whatnot, being able to communicate like that and whatnot. So I always like to separate the two from each other, but I think it's really frightful. And I'm not surprised with Australia, not because it's just weak and gay and whatnot. It obviously doesn't drink Freedom 2.0 water. It's not surprising because they were so about the lockdowns. There was hardly any resistance against the lockdowns. They relatively have a pretty tyrannical form of government not form of government, but the way it's structured, because they don't really necessarily have the same freedoms we have here in the US. And it's important that this stops in Australia because, like we always see with issues and trends and whatnot, it starts somewhere like in Australia and Europe, and then it finds its way into America or Canada and then America. So it's important that we learn from what we will see in Australia in the next 5 years from this, and we prevent this from ever happening, because we have the ability to.
I will defend the Australians. I have many Australian friends, and they definitely are not gay. and they are manly Australians and womanly Australians, and they hate this stuff. The problem is they're busy doing things, right? They're busy living life.
Yeah,
They're
like
not,
fighting
they're
off
not in
all
politics.
the deadly animals that live there.
All those kangaroos, that want to box you. That's my idea of what happens in Australia. You go out and you have kangaroos trying to box you. But this is a very dangerous thing, and yes, it is just a small subsection. We obviously know how Congress passes things without letting us know, without doing the people's bidding, right?
Yep.
Same thing, I'm sure, is what's happening there. They have crazy laws, crazy rules. The thing that they don't have is the Second Amendment. There was a buyback quite a while ago where they basically said you have to give us your guns. They don't have any freedom of speech there. They don't have a First and Second Amendment. Those are the most important damn things any country could have. So when you see things happening like this in Canada and Australia, they don't have those first two critical amendments that our founders said, yeah, those are going number one and number two because they're the most important. So, for all my friends over there, I wish you guys the best. You're going to have to start fighting at some point. Better do it now before you have, you still have some privacy. The last thing I'll say, for anyone listening out here, what is life like with the digital ID? Well, let me ask you: do you get scared sometimes that when that your FaceTime camera is on your computer? Okay, imagine
I
that
do.
all the time. That is a life with digital ID. That is a life where everything you do is not only seen by the person you're Zooming with, but the government. That's what that's like. So if you want to live a life like that, then allow digital ID into your life, into your homes, and into your countries. And if you don't, then you're gonna have to start fighting.
I'm really interested. Okay, so this was something when you say that, and I know we have other things we want to get to. I hope you guys have some time tonight because there was this thing that came out today that I wanted to get because I cut it. This was supposed to be a quick hit, and everybody who's watching right now, like this is totally unscripted. This is not something we had planned on whatsoever. But there was this thing that I saw that came out from Microsoft today. Did you hear about this?
No, inform us.
Fabian, okay. So I feel
No,
like
no.
Fabian, you are so into all these like niche tech talks and stuff. And there was this thing that came out of Microsoft and I'm pulling up the video now.
Mhm.
I'm going to share my screen and I'll get it up here. I could share screen. And I can't even explain it that well because I'm terrible with a lot of this niche tech innovation stuff. But let's get this up on screen here and we'll talk. Just watch this. He'll explain it. He explains it if it's a good thing. It reminds me of the Tech ID stuff that you're talking about from a new Microsoft device and a new feature they're enabling.
How do we introduce memory, right? Photographic memory into what you do on the PC. And now we have it. So it's called recall. It's not keyword search, right? It's semantic search over all your history. And it's not just about any document. We can recreate moments from the past, essentially.
Here's how it works. Windows constantly takes screenshots of what's on your screen, then uses a generative AI model right on the device, along with the NPU, to process all that data and make it searchable, even photos. I got to try it out. I searched brown leather bag. It came up in visual search. There's no place on this page that it says brown leather bag. It just knows because it sees this brown leather bag. There could be this reaction from some people that this is pretty creepy. Microsoft is taking screenshots of everything I do.
Yeah, I mean, that's why that it can only do it on the edge, right? So this is like, you have to put two things together. This is my computer. This is my recall, and it's all being done locally.
The problem is it's not your computer. I just talked to ChatGPT 4.0. By the way, I'm going to do a debate with ChatGPT. I'm going to attempt to break it. So
Good
if
luck.
you want, I don't know when I'm going to do that, but it's going to be in the next few days.
How much prep do you need?
I don't do any prep.
You have a lot
Let's
of
do it
time.
tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
We can do it tomorrow. We can do it tomorrow. So if you're watching, tune in tomorrow. I'm going to debate ChatGPT, the one that you speak to in real time.
Okay.
But I got ChatGPT itself to tell me that it anonymizes all the information that you give it almost all the time. And I honed in on that one specific part. I said, in what situations would there be would there be an item or something said that you would have to not anonymize it and give specific answers to your creators, Microsoft and OpenAI, and it got stuck. So you can get it stuck when it doesn't want to give you the correct answer. But yeah, this is scary. This is just, I mean, we all have our iPhones. And when you want to get information on your iPhone, what do? You download an app and then you unpack it. So in the future, the idea is to have the exact same thing happen in your head. If you want to learn how, you want to learn karate, you download the karate pack and you upload it to and now you have all the muscle memory that a karate master would have. This is an iPhone, but done on your computer. We already have that on our Photos app where you can go to your photos and you can type in what you're looking for, and then visually it will place whatever you're looking for in a searchable index in front of your eyes. This is just taking that concept and putting it for your entire computer.
Well, and that's so like we get a comment like this, and everybody please comment and let us know what
There
you
you go. That's what I was literally about to say.
Yeah, and so we have this guy asking Jamie, thank you for the comment, saying I'm not looking for a fight, but it's like cookies. You're right. However, what they're describing with Microsoft is you could have opened a private photo and your computer knew that, a private photo that was sent to you via, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously it's a Microsoft.
It was sent to you, Kevin. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. You guys are so worried about this. They're already doing it to you, the federal government. And
but what I'm saying is that it's even further.
Okay, it doesn't matter. It's screenshotting it, your private picture that nobody's ever seen. Doesn't matter. They already have access to your phone. That's where your picture is in the first place. That's where you took the picture. And I don't want to be this tinfoil hat kind of guy or whatever. I don't really wear it usually, but the federal government literally tells you that they work with these AT&T and whatever communication companies, right, and whatnot. And they've said that they've spied on whatever in the name of whatever safety interest that they may have and whatnot. So I'm like sitting here and I'm like, they already do this.
No. I know what you're saying, David, and I don't disagree with you. A lot of our rights have already been, and I wouldn't even necessarily, a lot of our privacy has already been encroached upon. That is not even up for debate. Like, we know that to be true. But what I'm saying when it comes to this stuff is that they're encroaching even further to where the protections that are in place, while slim, are being even further eroded. So the way in which they can utilize the pictures and the data that they already have is going to be further eroded, because now what used to be at least protected to where it would just be the company itself and the government had access to it. Now it's going to be, oh, well, we're collecting it and you didn't opt out. And so now we can actually also sell it to these Chinese advertisers. And then now China has all the info that you thought that they only had the info from TikTok, but now they have literally everything on you because it was sold to them for pennies on the dollar.
Well, see, the thing is that they're already doing it. Now what they're trying to do with this new thing that you just showed me on Microsoft or whatever is that they're just going to normalize it. Now it's like, okay, look, we've been stealing your data. We've been spying on you and selling it to whoever it is. But now let's normalize it by creating this unique AI thing or whatever it is.
Yeah, a few points on that. And I know we got to close up. Number one, yes, cookies were the first generation of this. But as things iterate, they get more deeper and they get more technical. Second, I am not opposed to, I love all this technology. I love futurist technology. The problem is, are you going to control it in an ecosystem that's closed off to everyone else? Which is essentially privacy, or are you going to allow it to be dictated and manipulated and done anything else with and sold by a third party? Andrew Yang in his 2020 campaign, he talked a lot about this, that data is now worth more than oil. The amount of total data in the world on us is worth more than oil. And if you think about what we've done for oil, the wars we've gone after, the coups, right? The assassinations. Think about what they would do for this data that is worth more than oil. We literally went to war with countries. We destroyed whole countries, generations of people to get oil. We made our friends our enemies because we wanted their oil. So think about what they would do for this data stuff. We do have privacy laws. Now, those can get eroded. So at some point, this, by the way, the solution to all this is blockchain, smart contract. Think about all of your data. You have control of your data. Right now, you don't have any control of your data. It's Microsoft and AI and all this stuff. You have your control of your data. What you can do then is you can rent your data. If there is a company that wants to do let's say they want to test everyone between the ages of 25 and 26 to have diabetes. You can sell your data for a limited number of time using a smart contract. on the blockchain. It's open source. They get it for a week. You get paid. Imagine how much money we would all make if we all made money off our own data and sold it whenever we want, not give it away just to use a piece of technology that they had created that makes our life 3% more efficient. That's the problem.
That's some good points right there, Fabian. And just to close it up before we move to Kev's quick hits, is that I think this would be a wonderful debate to have, honestly, is to figure out what is that fine line, right? How much privacy are you willing to let go of in the name of your safety?